gratitude fulfills us within, and expressing gratitude makes the world go round. How do you like to give thanks to other people? I'm Angie Park, and I'll be right back after this song.
Queens.
That was Red Velvet Queendom starting us off for this edition of K-Pop Connection on KBS World Radio. It's Friday. Happy Friday, you guys. Was it a long week? Was it a short week? Well, regardless, we're wrapping up not just this week, but slowly this month. Next week is a few more days left, but then we start a brand new month, right? It's August 27th, 2021. Wednesday, I think it was, we talked about how there are so many people out there that we can be grateful for. Obviously, there's family, there's friends, there's coworkers, even service workers amongst the pandemic situation here. A lot of people that we could be thankful for. In the end, most of the things in life that give us joy exist because of other people, right? And on a related note, it's not just feeling gratitude, it's expressing that gratitude that's just as important. I'm sure everyone can agree with me when I say that literally every single person genuinely loves feeling appreciated and acknowledged. I don't think I know a single person that's like, oh, I wish I wasn't appreciated. I wish people would take me for granted more. Nobody says that, right? It's really one of the best feelings ever to hear what we did, how we are making other people happy in return. And it can really be the simplest thing. It can be a cup of coffee you pick up for someone, a small random gift out of the blue, no reason. It's not their birthday or anything. Maybe even a prayer, maybe even just a very simple thank you. The best is when you get a random text from someone and they're like, you know what? I was just randomly thinking, I really am thankful for you because of blah, 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 blah. But that makes your day, doesn't it? Yeah, we don't really get handwritten letters anymore, so text will have to do. It's even better, though, if it's handwritten. It's like what they say, feeling gratitude and not expressing it, that's like wrapping a present and not giving it. What's up with that? It's Friday evening here in Korea. Why don't we all take a moment to express our gratitude? Don't just feel it. I know on Wednesday I asked you to feel it. No. Now I'm asking you to take it a step further. Go ahead and express it to those around you. I think that kind of positive energy, it will beckon a very wholesome, happy, and positive weekend ahead. Let's listen to a very positive guy. I didn't know how I was going to connect that. Sam Kim, 향기, scent. That was Sam Kim with 향기, or scent. Sam was so kind enough to visit KBS World Radio again, this time not for K-Pop Connection, but One Fine Day, right? That was earlier on this week. If you guys maybe want to check it out, you can try to look up the podcast version. I think that's an option. It's not my show, so I don't know the details, but am I being too careless? It's still a sister show, right? I should know more details. But yes, he was indeed on the show, so that must have been fun, right? Lena and Sam. All right. Well, this is not One Fine Day. You can stick around maybe to catch One Fine Day later, but for now it's K-Pop Connection. Here's how you can tune into our show. We have shortwave radio, 9.515 megahertz bound for Europe, 9.630 megahertz bound for India. We have apps like the KBS World Radio app, KBS World Radio on-air app, KBS Kong app, and of course podcasts through whatever podcast app you guys like. You can just give us a rating there on that app. That can really help our show out. If you want more details, go to our website. That is world.kbs.co.kr. Also, we have a Gram account at KBS K-Pop is the handle. So you can go ahead and visit, leave us comments. We'll share some of those comments as well. And you can get more involved in our show. We have a couple songs lined up before we get into our daily segment, Coffee or Tea. Here is Heartfelt. This one is featuring Kim Hyo-eun with Summertime. Then we have SF9, Teardrop. Would you like coffee or tea? This is our daily segment where we have a chit-chat. Let's refuel or wind down together, talking about anything and everything that sparks a conversation. The town of Le Chambon-sur-Lignon in southeast France. What do you guys think about my French accent? Horrible, right? It has a population of only 2,500 people, but it has a reputation as a place of refuge dating back to the 17th century. This was even back in the 1940s during World War II. The town also protected thousands of Jews from perilous circumstances. A local pastor and his wife led calls to protect Jewish refugees from the occupying Nazis. Word actually spread all through word of mouth, and the village became a hub of the resistance movement, with ordinary residents taking in and hiding those who fled from the war. An Austrian man named Erich Schwamm, who recently passed away at the age of 90, was one of the refugees the town took in at the time. He had arrived back in 1943. Well, in gratitude, Schwamm left the village a very large amount in his will. This was obviously after his death. It was a total of $2.4 million US. That's about 2.8 billion Korean won. Apparently, Schwamm has always been a very discreet gentleman, and he certainly didn't really want publicity about this. Little was known about him, so the town did some research. What they found: Mr. Schwamm's family was from Vienna. His father was a doctor. He arrived in the town with his parents and grandmother. In 1950, he moved to another town named Lyon to study pharmacy, where he met, married, and lived with his future wife. The couple didn't have children. He was a widower before his death on December 25th, 2020. The mayor of the town announced that Mr. Schwamm's fortune would be used to fund education and youth initiatives. Wow, what a generous, generous person. And as a refugee who had such a rough start, was forced to find a new life in a new location, he saved up quite a bit of money. 2.4 million, not too shabby, huh? Wow. What a beautiful town, though. That's great, no? The town did beautiful deeds, and then it got repaid, sort of, a little bit anyway, financially, from a person that benefited from those very sweet deeds. It's one of those stories that makes your heart kind of warm and fuzzy. Let's listen to a song by BTS. This is 봄날, Spring Day. Following that, we have Jamie singing Stay Beautiful. Vibes
1 to 5.
Welcome everyone to Vibes 1 to 5. Peter's here in the studio about to introduce his playlist. He teased us about this last week. He said it was, quote, the opposite of the urban playlist.
What could that be?
I wonder. Hi, Peter.
I think we've had so many people like counting down the days.
The cliffhanger.
What is the answer?
Yeah.
I need to listen. Well, I'll put you out of your misery.
Okay.
The countryside playlist is what we're going for.
Okay, when you say countryside, two images can pop up.
Okay.
One, it's, oh man, there's no Wi-Fi, countryside. Or it could be, oh, look at the rolling hills and the sun, not the countryside.
Let's go for that one.
Okay.
That sounds nicer than the
Gotcha.
first one, which kind of reminds me of the stay we had where the cows were across the road and it stank a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, never booking that place again.
Well, to be honest, you got used to it. Like, I think by the end of it, I was fine.
No, I
Really?
don't know. It was pretty bad for me. And then the flies
Well,
from the cow dung next
at
door.
least we were out of the city, you know.
Yeah, to explain very quickly for our listeners who don't know, we did a vacay. I think this was pre-COVID days.
Yeah.
A bunch of families got together. I was the one responsible for this. I picked a place, very country seeming.
Yeah.
It had a garden. It told us we could pick our own vegetables and use it for dinner.
Yeah, had a little pool as well, like a paddling pool.
Yeah, and I thought that was cool for the kids.
Yeah.
They didn't mention that their across the street neighbor was a cow farm.
Yes, and they were kind of sleeping in their own muck, it
And we
seemed.
were down breeze.
Well, I
from
don't
it.
think it would help with their advertising if they did mention that.
I guess so, but that's such a deal breaker. The stench.
No, but even looking back, don't you now think, oh, that was fun?
It was fun.
Yeah, so that's all that counts,
But the
okay?
smell, man. Anyway, countryside.
No smelly songs, I
Nice,
promise,
nice.
okay? But this first one, Pentagon, number 5. Oh, Pentagon, 5 sides, number... See what I did without even thinking about it?
Is that what British people say? Pentagon?
Pentagon. As in, do you say Pentagon?
No, yeah, Pentagon.
Okay, there you go. But yes, I'm like Russell Crowe from Beautiful
I'm
Mind.
sorry?
Beautiful Mind.
He was crazy.
He was a maths genius.
He was a
though,
maths
so
genius,
I'll
yeah.
take that. Naughty Boy is the English title, but the countryside aspect comes from the Korean title, Cheonggaeguri, because it's that folk tale about the frog not living in the city,
Yeah.
in the countryside with his mother, and always doing the opposite to what she said.
Yes.
So if she was like, clean your room, he'd make a mess.
Yes.
And then one day she dies. And before she dies, she says, bury me by the stream, right? Not the mountain, I think it is. And then he thinks, no, it's the other way, isn't it? She says, bury me by the the stream.
Stream
I'm
is right, yeah.
Because she thinks he's going to do the opposite.
Bury her by the mountain.
Yeah, where she won't get washed away. But he's like, no,
For once.
I'm going to listen to your mum. I don't know what the point of that tale
It's
is.
a really sad story.
Yeah, because then she gets washed away as well.
And I think this story really hit home for you because this is like the third time you've mentioned it on our show.
It was this and Kongji Pachi were my two favourites. And then a close third. Kongji Pachi is like kind of Korea's Cinderella-ish,
Yeah.
but not really. And then Hungbu Norbu was
that's
third.
another one.
That's a brilliant one about two brothers, one who's rich and
Yeah.
one who's not so much. Yeah.
Aw.
Anyway, but yes, I did. My mum used to tell me these stories night after night after night. But I always had the picture of a countryside. And when I came to Korea as a boy, we used to go and catch frogs in the stream. And I heard in the 80s and 70s, people even ate those frogs.
Oh.
In France, they eat frogs' legs as well, so it's not terrible.
But you got to know which frogs.
Yes, don't eat the poisonous ones. Yeah. Well, that's our start off for the countryside.
I have no idea where we went on so many tangents
Sorry.
there. We went from cow dung to frogs to France.
Lovely.
Let's listen to Pentagon,
Naughty Boy.
청개구리. That was a fun one from Pentagon or Pentagon. Is that how you said it?
Pentagon.
Pentagon.
Yeah.
청개구리, Naughty Boy. All right, so song number 4 from our playlist today, the countryside playlist.
Yeah, rural playlist, you could call it as well. Shigor is what we'd
Shigor,
say
yeah.
in Korean, right? It's something that is much more visible from the countryside.
Oh my goodness, yes!
You can only fully appreciate
Yes!
it, right? Yes, that's it. You're on board now. No
I'm
more frogs.
so on board.
별이 빛나는 밤, Starry Night from Mamamoo.
Okay, I love this song, number 1.
Great, isn't it?
Yeah.
별이
Number-
빛나는 밤.
Now I officially hate this song.
Oh.
No, but there's 2 things I took for granted growing up in Hawaii. Actually, there's a lot of things, but 2 that I'll point out. One is that all oceans are turquoise and emerald. That's what I thought.
Really?
I learned very quickly when I came to Korea. Some oceans look like cement.
Which is good for diversity, isn't it? Yeah.
So, the second thing I took for granted, I just assumed you could always see stars at night.
Oh.
I thought that was like a given, 100% fact.
Is there not much light pollution then in Hawaii? Even in like
I mean,
Honolulu
we
or
are
something?
still a city, but I just always remember seeing stars. But wow, in Seoul,
Yes.
you don't see any, like
Yeah.
0.
We live like on the southern edge of Seoul, so
Yeah.
it's close to Gwacheon, which is much less built up. And there you can see maybe the North Star and Mars, like the reddish
You
tinge
see
to
it?
it. Yeah,
Okay.
but that's about it.
That's still something.
It's better than nothing, you're right. And in the real built-up areas, like if you're in Apgujeong or something, yeah, you're right. Even on a clear night, there's
don't
just
see anything.
not much up there at all, right?
Not much. I saw 0 course.
So, if you go to the countryside,
Yeah.
even in Korea, there are some great places with observatories on mountains where you can see
Yeah.
amazing stars. I really want to take the kids to do this one day.
Me too.
Like in the middle of the night and then wake them up at like 2 a.m.
You should
look
do
up at the
that.
stars.
Can you take my kids with you?
I was going to ask the opposite.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll do it one time.
All right.
And then number 3, Sean's Way Back Home.
Okay.
I don't know why this song gives me the vibe of going out into the country, going traveling, or traveling back home to the city from the countryside.
That's what I was thinking. Because,
Yeah.
like, for example, the big holidays here in Korea, like Chuseok,
Mm-hmm.
everyone is making their way back home, which is the countryside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you're doing that, when you're returning either to your like birthplace or
Mm-hmm.
back to your home after a holiday, I know there's this sense of kind of, what do you call it? Is it nostalgia? It's a
Yeah.
little bit of sadness tinged with happiness.
Yeah.
I kind of like that feeling from time to time.
I know your mom is moved,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe this isn't as applicable. As for me, my parents have also moved outside of my childhood home.
Oh, okay.
But the home I live in now, it still feels less home-like than the home I grew up in with my parents.
Yeah, I don't know if that will ever change, right?
Right?
I
Yeah.
think where you were as a child, that will stick with you, which I wish I appreciated it
Mm-hmm. Me
more,
too.
right? Because, yeah, it just feels always a little strange, like these bricks and stuff. Is
Yeah.
it me? Is it my home? I'm not sure.
It's my home, apparently. Let's listen to these two songs, Mamamoo with 별이 빛나는 밤 or Starry Night.
And then Sean's Way Back Home.
넌 또 한겹 쌓여가 내겐 그 누구도 아닌 네가 필요해 돌아와 내 곁에 그날까지 알났던
Those are two tracks right there from our countryside playlist. We had Sean's Way Back Home and Mamamoo's 별이 빛나는 밤, Starry Night.
Yes, and we're down to the top 2.
We are indeed.
The business end. And number 2 is Nao with 바람 기억, Memory of the Wind.
Ooh, this is the hard one
I
to
think
sing.
the music video, I'm pretty sure it could just be my imagination and my dream. It's like in blowing
Wind.
reeds or grasses, long grasses, like silvery grass, that
Okay,
kind
that
of
makes
thing.
sense. It goes with the flow of the song.
Yeah, and I really only picture that when I listen to this song. Like, that's all that goes through my mind. And yeah, like you said, it's about the wind and the memories that it carries with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I think countryside, like proper countryside, it's not just a rural village. It's like you're in a farm or in a field somewhere. I don't know what Hawaii's like, but in France, a lot of Brits go to the north side of France, like
Yeah.
drive there, go on the ferry, and then you stay in like a farm cottage.
Oh,
It's
that's so
beautiful.
fun.
Yeah. And we did this one time, me and my friends, and then we found ourselves lost in a field and it was getting dark. Started to get a little scary.
It was like a movie.
Yeah, like I thought we were going to get killed because there was someone like riding on a bicycle in the distance coming towards us. I was like, this is the end.
You were in danger. They always kill the Asian guy first.
I thought they would, yeah. And so I was trying to look as Western as possible. But he was fine. He was just passing by. But
Okay.
that's the proper countryside. And there's something fun about being completely away from anything human-like.
I will say that must have been sort of refreshing because I've never felt legit lost.
Oh,
Because
okay.
we have our phones now.
Yes, this is true.
Typically, there's always people around to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say, I don't think I've ever really felt
Wow.
I could die.
Okay.
You know, that kind of lost.
Yeah, maybe because you're not such a worrywart like me.
Okay.
I probably was nowhere near. If you were there, you're probably, oh, this is a really fun trip.
Yeah, what an adventure.
It's all about your perspective.
All
and
right.
then number 1, 볼포, 볼빨간 사춘기 with 여행 or travel.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, I'm guessing even the majority of our listeners don't live in the countryside and in rural areas.
Probably not.
Maybe a big proportion, but still, most people in most countries live in the cities for
Yeah.
a reason. And this travel song does talk about traveling to other cities, but I want to take it away from that. Sorry, Paul, that wasn't your intention.
Mm-hmm.
But being like a bird and just flying out and escaping wherever you are.
To quote the movie The Notebook,
Oh.
if you're a bird, I'm a bird.
Oh.
Do you remember that line?
I only watched it once and I was crying too much to listen to most
Okay.
of the lines, to be honest.
Rachel McAdams says, well, if I were to be born again, I want to be a bird. So now say, Noah, say you want to be a bird too.
Yeah.
And he said, if you're a bird, I'm a bird.
It seems a bit forced then. Like most things in a
It
marriage.
was romantic, okay?
Yeah, and so wherever you are, whatever the COVID situation is like, just think both in your mind, you could be a bird and fly away, maybe through the internet or your imagination,
Yeah,
but one day
true.
it'll be over and you can really fly away.
I don't know, man. I'm starting to reach that point where I'm going to have to learn to accept that it may never be over.
And wearing masks for life.
I
These
think-
kind of make us look more like birds. Like
Oh,
a little
that's
beak.
true, like beaks.
Beak, beak, beak.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
romantic as well?
Well, I don't know. It could be healthy for people. Less bad breath problems.
Wow.
Bad teeth problems.
We've got a positive spin on that.
All right, Peter, before you go, if you were to grow a little garden in your own countryside cottage, what is the first plant you would plant?
Oh, that's a great question. In the UK, daffodils are a very popular spring
That's
flower.
a beautiful one.
Yeah, we don't big them up so much here in Korea. We do have them.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about them a lot.
That's true.
They're like a school subject in the UK. When it's spring, the daffodils come out
'Cause it's
and it's a
common
new
there.
beginning. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'd have daffodils. What
Edible.
about you?
What about edible?
We had strawberries when I was growing up,
Oh, that's so fun.
but I used to hate strawberries because I was so
That's-
fussy.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but now I love them.
Okay, that's
I'd
so
like
fun
to
again.
bring them back. And you remind me of a strawberry today with your red
I'm
top.
red.
Yeah.
It's a roller coaster of emotions with you, Peter. All right, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
See you next Friday.
Let's send him out with the wind. Nars, 바람 기억, memories of the wind. And 볼빨간 사춘기, pour 4 with 여행 or travel. We have 볼빨간 사춘기 볼4's 여행 or travel set to play out, and that's going to be the last one for our show today. Our producer is Sophie Hong. Our writer is Harim Kim. I'm Angie Park. This has been K-Pop Connection. You may disconnect now.
Yeah,